Alright, so this is going to be a submission video for Blunder Bros. Blunder Bros is a 2D platformer originally released for the Game Boy Advanced, but it was re-released for Steam in 2020. I'm going to actually look right now to see who re-released it as we get into the game. So, pretty standard 2D platformer, not super fast, as you'll see. Oasis. You'll see me jump over enemies. Jumping in the water is faster, as well as across those beams. They slow me down. Jumping uphill isn't that important. You saw me right there do kind of a short hop with an attack. If I stand on the ground and attack, it actually stops me completely, and it has end lag. I also did a skip over that slight little gap there. So yeah, jumping and spinning is usually better than standing on the ground and spinning just to keep momentum. And into the second level. So obviously the first level was more horizontal based. This one much more vertical based. So I used the kind of the ear hops. It's like a little pogo jump pretty much off of Blunder's ears. He's a dog, question mark. Pretty standard movement, again, just trying to jump across these beams. There is movement tech for going up the more vertical poles and beams that allow me to get up faster, but it's actually pretty difficult to do. Also, if you want to know the story for this game, it's something about hybrid animal creatures being introduced and trying to take over the world. I don't know. I don't know the story that well. So this level is actually kind of a new change. This was found after a world record I got, like my previous world record. The one we're watching right now is the current world record, but it was just a routing change through the tubes that is 4 seconds faster than what I used to do. And we get to the first boss. This boss is pretty simple, zero cycle fight. A lot of bosses in this game are actually somewhat difficult, but this one isn't. So, pretty quickly take him down. That's what is considered a zero cycle. He can do more attacks than that, and that's what's considered a cycle. And that is the end of the first world. Every world in this game, except for one, has 4 levels, 3 of them being kind of standard levels, whereas the last one is a boss fight, pretty much. The only world that's an exception is Sheltarl, and we'll get to that in a second. Another kind of vertical based level. Hit the bird to get it out of the way. You just drop down. A lot of the levels in this game are pretty simple, just following a route, making sure not to take any extra damage. And yeah, it was ported to Steam by Pico Interactive, who I believe are porting a lot of games to Steam, like a lot of old or retro games. I know, but maybe people wouldn't consider GBA like 2007 retro, but now we get into the first driving level of the game. The driving controls are strange. I don't think we know exactly how they work. My theory is that you actually move the level around the character sprite rather than the character moving itself, but that's, I think, well, I'm the only person who really plays this, but that's my theory. I'm not the only person who plays this. There are other runners of the game that are pretty much inactive. And I guess just as an introduction to me, I'm Badamp. I have been speedrunning for, I want to say 7 years now. 2014, 2015 when I really started. Been playing Plunder Bros since maybe 2016, I want to say. Been world record holder pretty much since I started playing the game. Yeah, that's probably it about me. And that was a driving level. You pick up 4 keys to defuse a bomb at the end of the level. There are obstacles on the road. If you saw me jump, I was probably jumping over an obstacle. Another vertical based level this time. A lot more ropes. And we'll get to a little bit of a different mechanic in the game that pretty much only comes up once. And even though the movement in this game isn't necessarily fast, it is a pretty quick game. The levels are pretty short to get through. Put down notes. I don't think I have anything that I missed. Collect health there just for the boss coming up, because I do want full health, don't want to die on the bosses. And here we get to fly with our ears. I don't know, apparently he flaps his ears and it makes a dog fly. That was a little bit of a mistake, only maybe like half a second at most. I missed picking up one of the wings, which would extend my flight. But into the second boss, this is probably the boss that starts actually, you know, kind of being difficult. The first boss, pretty easy. This one, a little bit more precise in execution. So you're standing at a kind of a perfect distance to not get hit on that first spin. Allows me to only take 1 damage, which does help a lot going into Sheltarl, which we just talked about isn't a typical world. Instead of 3 levels and then a boss, it's 1 level split up into 3 parts with a time limit and a mini boss. 10-minute time limit, pretty easy to get through without using up all the time, especially when speedrunning. But this is when we pick up our first mini bro of the game. If you've noticed, before every level there's a little selection screen with a guy named Knuckle. Those are mini bros. Up until this point we don't use any because they actually waste time. There's a small animation that plays at the beginning of the level that does waste time. Can't skip Neon, he is necessary because that little part that I went through, this is a 2.5D game, by the way. Pretty advanced. But usually when I go into those kind of back of the level areas, they would normally be dark, and you'll notice that there's an energy bar underneath my health in the top left, and that is ticking down, pretty much showing that he's in use. If you go into a dark area without Neon, it'll pretty much just say, it's too dark in here, can't go forward, can't see. So you have to get Neon in order to go into these areas. He is the only required mini bro as we finish the first segment of the level. He's the only required mini bro, but he's not the only one that will be used. We'll get to that as it comes. But pretty simple second segment here. Nothing too crazy. Maybe a little sneak peek at the mini bro that we will be using later on in the run. But yeah, so this is the most recent world record. I did this in February of this year? I want to say February of this year. It's about a 10-second improvement, as well as it's actually run on official hardware, being Steam. I did it on PC through Steam, which is really convenient, so I don't have to get any sort of GBA play or anything. This is the mini boss. He jumps around and spins. There's kind of a setup to doing this. He also has like those little ant dudes, I don't know what they are, beetles, something that roll around and can hit you, but pretty straightforward fight. There's one more mini boss in the game. It's the same, not one more like different mini boss, one more mini boss fight like that in the game. Same guy comes back, but a little bit more difficult. See me going down those kind of angled beams. That is faster than going on foot. I want to say at least by 1.5 times your speed, maybe 2 times normal speed. If I knew all like the values of movement speed in this game, I would know for sure, but I don't. Hit a button to go through that door, kind of like a little bit of a detour in the level, but other than that, this is the third section, the last section of this level. We'll go through one more dark area, and we'll also get to fly again for a second, so that's pretty much it for this world. Also, using the 2.5D, we throw that into the background to open the door. And that's pretty much the end of the level. There's one more enemy here, one more little flying section. And yeah, that's it for Sheltarl, and we go on to First Heaven. First Heaven is the only world with 2 driving levels. We're going to start off with a pretty long one, and this has a pretty tight timing to it. 2 minutes to beat the level, and if you die in the level, you pretty much just have to reset it. You can't beat the level after you die and it resets. I don't believe there's any checkpoints in the driving levels, so this one does have kind of boost pads that help you go faster, like a Mario boost pad, a Mario Kart boost pad. Sometimes it's possible to run into the walls almost to get a little bit of leverage as you're turning. Seems counterproductive, but sometimes it is worth it. Most of the times, don't want to be hitting walls, it'll stop momentum. And this is the only level where I feel like the render distance on these enemies is pretty rough. You really have to know where they are at all times in order to avoid them and not take damage, because again, want to have full health when you go into the boss fight. Pretty much any boss fight, but I think especially this boss fight is kind of important to have full health into, just in case you make a mistake. Really quick level here, just gonna fly over this section. A little bit of another jump attack in order to keep my speed and not have to have any end lag on the attack animation. And we get to the end of the level. So this game is pretty straightforward, especially when it comes to the actual levels. I think the boss fights are probably the more interesting part of the game. I do think, especially the later you get in the game, the boss fights become more and more difficult, which is to be expected, but they are really, actually pretty interesting to optimize, I think. Really quick driving level, like 12 seconds, I think that said. And we get to Hippo Bat. This is the only boss that I actually know what it's supposed to be. It is a hippo mixed with the bat. Also dressed like, I don't know. Not Batman, probably Robin. Probably more dressed like Robin. As you see, I made a mistake. Got hit a second time when I wasn't supposed to, which for this next level is actually pretty rough, only having 1 health. But at the end of the day, it's not super important, but it is good that I had full health. But you saw me at the fight, I kind of took a hit to get behind him, which set up the rest of the fight to go really easily. This level has kind of 0G. We're on an asteroid, question mark? I take a hit there, which is actually really bad. That loses a good bit of time. A couple seconds at least, but it also makes me need to pick up more health along the way. I get that one, but I need full health for the third level. in this world, which has the next mini boss fight. Also, this is just a direct rip of my VOD. I muted the audio because I was talking in it on stream. Don't worry if you don't have Twitch Prime. You don't need to sub using Twitch Prime watching this submission video. Especially because it's not going to be on Twitch. This is Fog 2, pretty straightforward level. That's a little bit of a skip. I don't know if it's intended in the game, but it is a little bit quick. And then you see there, just the tiniest detour for that extra health. I think it's supposed to be dog food. I don't know. I'm not sure about anything in this game. Get to the mini boss fight. Again, this one much more precise. So what I have to do here is I actually have to go halfway between where Blender starts and where the mini boss starts. Get hit just like I did after doing 3 damage. Get behind him, and then he'll start jumping here, and it's a perfect mini boss fight. I don't know how I didn't hit him there, but other than that, perfect mini boss fight too. That's the last time we'll see that guy. Much more difficult than it looks. It is pretty precise to get the positioning correct on that, and if you don't, you pretty much just die no matter what. Take my time to make sure I don't get hit by any of these rabbits. And this is also a level where we get our only real mini bro of the run, the only non-mandatory mini bro of the run, as we have to wait for these electric things to appear and go by. We get him right up here. His name is Spish, and what he does, and we've seen it a little bit before, he allows us to dash, makes us invincible, and if we go through something while dashing, it does damage. Probably the quickest way of doing damage in the game is to pretty much just stay inside an enemy while dashing. That way, for a boss fight at least, it will keep damaging him like the second their iframes are up, because bosses in this game have iframes. This is Kirby. Doesn't matter for this boss because Kirby's in the air for pretty much the old time. The trick to this fight is just making sure the timing on your jumps is right. You gotta make sure you don't have her fly up too high. You see the poles there you can climb, but pretty good Kirby fight. I think I missed a hit in there, but that's really all that went wrong there. And we get into Militar, pretty quick level. This one doesn't have a real ending. You actually have to destroy all the pieces of this kind of flying ship here. So all the jets and the guns on the side. The jets take 4 hits? 5 hits. And the guns take 2. I save up the Spish usage, the dashes, for the guns that are aiming towards me rather than away from me. Just makes it a lot easier to get through, and then this last one, just stay inside and then kill the last little jet. And this next level's an auto-scroller, which, in case you're wondering about any donation time, driving levels for sure are one, but this is definitely a point for donations. Nothing really happens. There is an extra health you can pick up in this level. I don't do it because I'm just bad at the movement getting there. I don't do it in general. I never did, so I don't actually remember where every jump is. But yeah. Pretty uninteresting auto-scroller. Run away from the spike wall that's following us. I don't know. Don't want to hold right going up those ring things. I don't know what they are. They just shoot you up. If you hold the right, you actually will run into the pig, which will hurt you, and then it'll send you back and like down through that same I don't know what to call it, the hole that you just came up from. and that's really bad. That's just death. In a level here, you're just getting through enemies, not doing anything. They don't attack because I kill them before they can. They don't do anything until they're on screen, so. And then just run to the end of the level. Pretty easy. No way to speed that up from what I know. And then this is actually a pretty fun level to do, actually. A lot of interesting movement. Doesn't start out that way. But pretty quick climb the pole. This is kind of where it gets good. Fall down here and immediately use you fall onto one of the speed up boots and then you use Spish after jumping there. You do have to wait for the Spish to run out in order to pick up any objects. And throwing them back around to open the doors. I messed up the jump there. I believe those things with OK are supposed to be checkpoints. I don't know. I don't think I've ever died after picking one of them up because usually I don't pick them up. Gotta wait for the chickens there. You saw me jump up one of those angled beams. Not that one. That one leads to another mini bro, but we don't use them, so it would just be a waste of time. Get rid of those pigs walking at me. You'd think, oh, why don't you use Spish there? It's because I want to have the Spish cooldown for the next 3 pigs in order to end the level quickly, and also I wouldn't have to wait to get through the door, whereas I would if I used Spish on the first group of pigs. And this is what I think is the hardest boss in the game. Not the final boss, obviously, if you're looking at the splits, but he has an attack that does 2 damage, which is really rough, and he's also pretty hard to avoid, got a pretty big hitbox. Start off with 2 hits, into Spish to do damage, and then pretty much just avoiding his attacks as much as possible. Knocking these bombs away because they do damage. Not a good thing that I got hit there because this is the 2 damage attack. Do avoid it. He runs to the middle, does this like inhale exhale thing, but I kill him before he gets to do it because my Spish energy cooldown thing was back up and I could do it. My mini bro was recharged. And just like that, into the final stage, the last world, Cosmo Heaven. First level is also pretty quick. Get those boots right there, but that's not the last we'll see of him. We use him a couple more times in this level, just because he's quick. I take a hit there because I'm bad, I guess, I don't know. I think I was just getting greedy, trying to jump and spin to save time, but thankfully I can use Spish here, get a full health. I think it's just 2, but it's full health the entire game because I only have 3 health. Hit a button there that'll open up some gates. Not technically a door, I guess they're gates. They're made out of lasers. And then use Spish once again just to go past that last electric pole thing. I don't know what they're supposed to be. They hurt. They do damage. Last driving level in the run. And you notice I can't take Spish into this driving level. That's the most interesting part about this level, honestly. What that does, if you don't take a mini bro into a level, it will restart or will reset your position in the mini bro select screen. Whereas if you do take it in, it'll leave off where you last, or it'll pick up where you last left off. Gee, I can't talk. Pick up where you last left off. But yeah, if you don't take a mini bro into a level, it'll completely reset the positioning of your cursor, and you have to scroll all the way back to the mini bro to get it. So actually, for the next level, I don't bring Spish in to save the 0.25 seconds the animation would cost. He's not super useful in it. Most of it is either climbing up some poles or climbing up beams like this. Never really a good opportunity to use him in this level, I don't think. Especially if you watch it. If you can find a good place to use him without having to wait for his dash to end, I mean, feel free to tell me, but yeah, this is pretty tricky. Have to get from this platform, moving platform, onto another moving platform. They are not lined up in timing. I don't know who made them. I'm not a fan of whoever made it like that. Push the button to get this last platform to start moving, which takes us to the end of the final normal level and to the final boss. Drop below that electric thing just to not take damage. Makes it a lot easier. There's another one on the beam above it. This is the final boss. So scroll all the way back over to special. See how long that takes? Definitely not worth it, especially if you're losing 0.25 seconds in the last level for nothing. But it does help with the boss fight. Pretty much you want to hit him before he rams. When he rams, you just want to avoid it. Hit him. He'll do this like charging animation thing. I think it heals him. I'm pretty sure. Then you get him to half health, he'll jump, send some sonic waves, start doing the charging animation again. If you hit him, it just takes him out of it. And now he'll do this attack. I believe this does 2 damage, but we never really get to see it because we kill him before it ever hits us. Time stops. The second time he hits the ground, he'll bounce off it once and then hit it the second time. And that is Blunder Bros. And then they do the credits. The credits roll. Pretty interesting 2D platformer with some fun boss fights. Hoping that this can be represented at GDQ at some point, whether it be this coming GDQ or one in the future. And yeah, this is a world record by about 10 seconds over my old one. Voice crack, because of course. And yeah, I think that's just about it. Gonna look at my notes to see if I missed anything. No, I don't think I did. My last note is whatever. So, yeah, that's Blunder Bros. Hoping it gets in.
Can't believe I've played this game for fucking 2 days.
Still enjoy playing it somewhat. I don't stream it all that often, but definitely still playing it.
I'm not playing this goddamn game again.
Definitely well practiced in the game. So, yeah, hoping it gets in.